It is a joy to be alive today, to be able to breathe freely, although we know that there are many challenges or trials in life. I would like to speak to you today about how to trust in God when times are tough. It is easy to say as a Christian that I trust in God when things are going your way. You're able to pay your bills, your marriage is working, or your children are behaving, or your friends are liking you, or your family is cheering you on. But when the opposite happens, this is where the nitty-gritty exposure of character becomes so apparent. So today I'd like us to pause and consider the word trust. In the dictionary, Merriam-Webster, trust is just an assurance or assured reliance on the character, ability, strength, or truth of someone or something. That's the a full definition of trust, entry 1 of 2. And if you will get the essential meaning of trust, it says here, believe that someone or something is reliable, good, honest, effective, etc. Friends, as a Christian, we often hear or we declare in our own lives to trust in God. Even our United States denomination or bills or dollar or money declares in God we trust. But what does it really mean to trust in God if things are not going your way? When the debt collector is knocking on your door, or the debt collector is trying to litigate or is trying to sue you for unpaid credit card debts or loans or whatever money you owe. Banks are after you. You're not able to pay your mortgages or the bills, or you are struggling with finding the right job, or you're not employed, or you're going through a very financially tough situation, especially if you're an immigrant to this country, the United States, or if your marriage is rocky and is about to split or divorce, or when your relationships with your coworkers are not so pleasant, or even your children are not behaving, or you're diagnosed with cancer, or you're not able to pay your medical debts, and many other pains and aches and trials, tribulations in life. Where or how can you put your trust in that God who said that he cares for you and he loves you? This is quite a tough statement or question to answer. How can we trust God in tough times when you're being accused, you're being slandered or demeaned, or even your life is threatened? Where will God be in this picture? So friends, I'd like to direct your thoughts and your minds to the scripture found in Job chapter 13, verse 15. And it's striking here that Job, in his time of trial or tough times, he was able to say this: though he slay me, meaning God, if God will allow to let him be killed by the devil, yet will I trust in him, but I will maintain my own ways before him. It is easy for us to say trust in God in tough times as well. And our emotions and feelings may not really align with what we are saying. And then we are bogged down with the thought of losses or pain or suffering. But Job, as the story goes, is encouraging us that our lives, even our lives, are owned by God. Even our being, God is the owner. So if God gives, he takes away, then we who are mortals have no choice but to yield. And that means we have to really rely on God in such a very difficult time in our lives, or tough times that will happen in our lives. It's not easy. This trust issue is not only in our spiritual realm, but also in our relationship realm. Meaning to say, if we cannot trust someone that we look up to, then there is a possibility for us to doubt the God in heaven who invites us to trust in him. So therefore, friends, going back to the question, how do we trust God in tough times? Well, I could only share a little bit of insight in my humble opinion, or in my own experience. That trusting God is better than not trusting in God, because number one reason, we cannot control everything that comes our way. Our circumstance may be so overwhelming that even our intelligence, or even our good intentions or sincerity will not change anything. Even in our earnest prayers, things may not go our way. Trust is simply telling ourselves and telling God that we can't do this, that we are willing to wait for God's will for our lives. You see, friends, if you trust God, it doesn't mean that your problems will go away. It just means that whatever happens, your security is not found in the material. It is found in the spiritual. So that is a huge relief, or it will assuage the soul of being trapped into this myriads of maze of problems and solutionless situation. Friends, when we trust God, it doesn't mean that our problems will go away. It just means that we are allowing God to take care of us, even if it means that our lives will be at risk, our properties will be at risk, our relationships will be at risk. And sometimes it happens. Like Job lost almost everything. He still trusted in God. So that is a great example. Another example is in the life of Solomon, the wisest king, who wrote Proverbs in his book, Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 to 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. So, friends, even the wisest, most discerning person in the world, in the then known world during the time of the United Kingdom of Israel, in its glorious phase, Solomon had gone through a lot of emotional upheavals and family problems. But still, he says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, with everything. It's mind-boggling why this great man, this man of wealth, this learned man, a wise king, said that. So I believe, friends, it's beneficial and it is encouraging to trust in God in difficult times, because we allow God to take over our cares and problems in this world. Now, how can we do that? Are we just going to be careless or mindless? No, it means that we intentionally allow God to balm our weariness and to trust in what he can do, whether it goes north or south, east or west, or go our way or not our way, the highway or the low way. Friends, trust allows us to yield control of things or circumstance that we cannot control. Another benefit of trusting in God and how we can trust God in tough times is this, friends. We are limited in our resources or capabilities. Only God is infinite and limitless. So we acknowledge that God is the source of everything. Therefore, our circumstance may not change, but our spirituality, our minds, our hearts, our strength will be renewed because of our trust in the divine power, our trust in God. So that is another benefit that I see. Another advantage of trusting in God in tough times is you and I can now understand that material things are nothing compared to spiritual things. Like I heard this statement, when you lose money, you lose nothing. When you lose your health, you lose something. And when you lose your character, you lose everything. Meaning to say, the emphasis is on our in constitution, the constitution that drives our being, meaning to say our character, who we are, the nitty gritty, the grind, the elements that we are made of, who we are, our choices. So friends, when we trust God, our characters are molded, fashioned, and just shaped by the hands of God. That is what it means to trust in the Lord. I heard from some of my friends that they're going through tough times, being betrayed, losing loved ones, marriage destroyed, families destroyed, and cancer-stricken bodies and children rebellious and so forth and so on. It's such a malady to think. It's such a tragedy, to think of all these stories. And the only words that would come out of my mouth would be, let's trust the Lord on this. That's the only words. But if that person cannot handle that words, then there's no other remedy for me except to be silent, except to shut my mouth. How could you trust God when you're suffering? Well, it has been done. Jesus Christ trusted in his Father when he was being tortured, when he was being nailed on the cross, when he was being put to death on Calvary. He trusted God and he was able to forgive. That is, I think, something to think about. Someone to trust, Jesus Christ. You see, friends, when we trust, we allow God to shape us. We allow his will to shower our lives, that we will become a little blessing on this earth. If we hold on to life and material things and what we can do, for sure we will be frustrated and we fail. But if we allow God and trust him to open the way or close the way for us, then we are given relief. Another insight that I could share with you about trust is, in tough times, is, yes, friends, life is unfair. And we just have to trust that God will give a better judgment than what we get from this earth. We are screwed in this earth, screwed by other people who desire to be dominant, or who desire to take away what is ours, who desire to force us to submission, coerce us to yield and compel us to their mandates. Friends, when we trust God, we only yield to God. We allow God to take over, even if it means death. Job, Jesus Christ, the wisest king, Solomon, they all trusted in God. So friends, I could not find any disadvantage if we trust in the Lord, especially when we are going through tough times. I think that's the only way right now for us to be given comfort and peace. You know, when you trust God, peace floods your heart. Yeah, properties might be taken, money might be withdrawn, pain will increase, relationships will not be healed. Those are fine things. But when we are not connected or when we are separated from God, that is a tragedy. So, friends, I encourage you to trust in the Lord, whatever the situation is. Beg only from God, and beg God not for uh, material blessings or solutions to your problem. Beg God to give you peace that surpasses understanding. And so I hope that you can learn something out of this broadcast, and may the God of hope and the God of faith and the God of love will allow you and me to trust him today. I know it's tough. I know it's not easy. And I'm reminded again of Job chapter 13, verse, though he will slay me, I will still trust in him, but I will maintain my own ways. Before I meant to say, I will be true to what I believe, not the devil's way, my way. And that is, my way is to choose God and trust in him.